Hey party people, welcome back to MVM, and today I'm here with a preview I am very excited to share with you. And I understand this is sponsored, but if you watched my review of Deliverance last year, you would know why. Deliverance is coming back to crowdfunding with a new expansion, Council of the Fallen. And we'll talk about that, but I kind of want to preface this with a lot of information up front. If you don't know Deliverance, this is a 1 to 4 player game, takes I would say about 90 minutes to 2 hours for a game night skirmish, or you can play a longer campaign, develop your characters. The game got attractive to me because of that skirmish thing. I got to play this game in that mode first, and what you're really doing is, what you're actually doing in this game is you're fighting this prince or big demon, and you're also fighting off these other beasts and different things of that nature, and you're trying to get the oppressed and turn them, illuminate them so that they're happy and they're okay and they're safe. But they are trying, the enemy is trying to stop that and keep them down, and they're putting pressure on you so that you have more darkness cards to stop you. But if you fight back and you resist, and it's a very tactical game, you're basically going to get power up like crazy. Think about Massive Darkness 2, how you power up so fast you get to feel that overpoweredness. That's what this game does very well. So that's what this game was attractive to me. It was in my top 10 last year. I gave it a very good review. As you can see, my heart rate is a little higher than normal. That just shows you how I feel about this game. Now we have our sponsor preview side where I have to cut that off, right? And here we are talking about Council of the Fallen. We ain't cutting it off. We're just gonna let you know what's up, right? So in this one, they're expanding, of course, adding more characters, adding a 5th player. And when I say more characters, first of all, we're talking about 9 characters plus a little one that's kind of a companion to one of the characters. So you get an idea of how that works as well. I'm going to show you that one. They're also going to have that 5th player mode. They're also going to have a new campaign. There's going to be some rework to the solo mode. That was something I had some feedback on. There was a couple other things I had feedback on. That's all in there. So we'll take a look at it. I'm not going to explain every nuance and rule in this because I do have that review, but I'm not going to leave you dry here. We're going to make sure we give you the information that you need. Without further ado, let's get into it. Get these boxes out the way. Enough of that preamble stuff, and let's just talk. So with Deliverance, you have the skirmish mode, like I said, and you also have the campaign mode. It's up to you what you want to do. Do you want like a nice little game night? And honestly, I just say game night, but it can be anything. You just like, hey, I'm at a con. Let's just play this. We don't have to go into a deep campaign. You're going to play this, level up your characters, have a full-on experience of what Deliverance has to offer that day. If you want to play through a campaign, you're actually going to get a campaign book. That campaign book will walk you through how the scenarios are set up, because there's a certain way you set up skirmish, but there's a very specific way that you set up for campaign, and they'll tell you how to do it, how much XP you'll earn, and how does the situation work. You're developing your characters a little bit different there because you'll have XP, and that XP you'll use to kind of tick off different things in very much an RPG fashion. So what you're looking at here would be something like a skirmish. All right, so let's just dig in. What you're seeing here is where they start out. It's kind of like their heavenly board. They come down here and they deal with these evil folks here, the grotesque, the dark acolyte, and many more. Those will be added to it. Now, I should highlight something while I'm remembering. You can ramp up the difficulty in this game very easily. They have talents that they can add, and you can even add them to the big bad that's in the game, and that makes the game more challenging. As a matter of fact, the first time I played this, I played with some more of the challenge, and it was tough. We had to we had a lot to figure out. It was 2 players. It was not easy, and that's what hooked me on this game. So you have that as well. But you have these different tiles. You'll use a card per tile, and that will tell you what these enemies are going to be and how to lay these out. It actually has icons how to lay these out. And what you're facing, right here is X amount depending on here. So you have all these different enemies. They have hit points. They also are activated by dice, which we'll get into. But let's just get through the phases. the darkness phase. These are darkness cards. They have all kinds of crazy stuff that can happen. It gets a little nasty out there. See, you have these illuminated people here, and you want to make sure that they're on this side and not the dark side, because if they're on the dark side, it adds to the amount of cards that you're going to have to show, and you're going to have to possibly have something happen immediately or something that's going to continue to happen each round. There's a lot of different things that play out. I'm not going to get too deep in the weeds, but this right here is another hook there, that you have this looming threat, not just the enemies, you also have this darkness deck. And then you have your different enemies. There's quite a diversity of enemies in this in the base game, so I'm assuming that there even be an even more interesting versions of these characters. And then you have your XP track. You'll be spending XP, and I'll kind of get to this later, to develop out of your deck. So let's just dig into the players, because it's now their turn after the darkness phase. So in the action phase, each player, look at this, this is from the first campaign, this was huge, is going to take one turn. First player is going to take a turn, then the enemy takes a turn. Player takes a turn, first turn. And if there's not another enemy, then you take your turn. So what happens on your turn is, well, let's actually walk to the characters. We have a new character here, Perta, who is the wielder of the wind, frozen wind, and that's what she plays into. She has these little squall pieces, which are like ice, like slide on the ice, like Frozone, like whatever. Yeah, I like Frozone, sure. But she slides through these squalls to attack harder, to move more. The enemies react off them too. And as you develop through your deck, because each character has these talent decks, and as they level up, you'll start to interact with these and get cards that you can choose to kind of develop who they are, from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 throughout the game. That's the biggest high point of this game. Is it feels very much like Massive Darkness 2. You get real hyped up, you get powered up, and you start feeling like, hey, I can take on anything. But here you start with just these 2 actions. You have these 2 action tokens. You'll flip over one and take an action here. Some of them will be free actions the first time you use them. Others will be, they'll just cost an action token to take. Of course, the more awesome ones are going to need not only an action token, but these courage tokens. And you can also take actions that give you the courage tokens. So like, for example, she has a thing called Ice Spike. When you deal damage, you deal it based on the stats that are over there. And you can also get equipment that adds to this, and makes it even better. And then she adds bonus damage if you calculate it through a squall. So you're trying to get her through the squall, so this ice, so she can, like, kind of extra hit there. I don't know what that would, whatever that is. All right, so you have those upgrades. Then you have Korra. Korra is like the Leviathan, so she's got this long spear, and you kind of play with that. She can pull, she can push, she can stand her ground, so you can do all kinds of interesting stuff strategy-wise, and that's what this game is. It's a very heavy strategy type game. You're going to have to figure out things, the puzzle of it, on the fly, because these enemies are relentless. As a matter of fact, like this dark acolyte, it actually pulls you away and sometimes pulls you towards. You got problems, okay? You're gonna have problems, so you can't just run away. I'll talk about that boss in a minute. Really, really interesting battle. But we have our third character. This was just one of the, this is 3 of the 9, and I call it 9.5 because this is going to be with them, Nebuchadnezzar and Ariel, the Lion of God. So she's going to be a distance character, and she also has Nebuchadnezzar to kind of like back her up, or even be in front of her, or even have kind of a meeting position that they give better stuff. So they have a flanking shot, deal damage to a demon, and then add curse to that target. If Nezi's adjacent to the target, add 1 damage. So you have like a little bit of extra, skin. You get a little bit extra bonus for having this stuff positioned. Boy, I got to keep my heart rate down. As you can tell, really passionate about this one because it's really fun. It's absolutely, it just is. I mean, whatever, pay preview or not, you know what's up. Like, if I like it, I like it. But yeah, this is like the really easy gist of the turn. Let's say I was taking the flanking shot. I actually take the action, and then I actually get one of these. So I would add, let me just steal one from you over there, and I would add this to it. And then there's sometimes where I may want to, I have to spend 2 for the hunter's mark. And this gains Nezi a gain of action immediately. And if Nezi is on a battlefield, you may use the skill even if Ariel is defeated. So they have ways of supporting each other. Really, really interesting, because Nebuchadnezzar can like basically get to her pretty much wherever they want, and that's based on having these upgrades. So when you defeat enemies, you'll get XP, and once you get above how many characters you have +1, you can spend it. You can spend the XP in order to draw 2 cards from your level 1 deck, and then you'll choose which ability you have. And all they do is add to the stats, make certain moves even better, that kind of stuff. So you get an opportunity to see your character develop in different ways, and you get to make different builds each time. That's the one right there. You get to build different builds. It feels different every time you play it. And that's what you're searching for. I wish I could tell you there's so much more to how you play and go into the big nuances, but I should say that you have this prey action. You have to roll a test of 7. Roll 7, baby. Oh no, solo mulligan. Let's do it again. Oh no. All right, anyway. So if you do roll 7, you do this action called prey. You want to take the action prey. What you're doing is you have a 7 test, and if you do, you can get one of these prayer cards. The prayer cards are they're like awesome cards that are one-time actions, a free action, different things like that. Actually, I'll give you an example here. Let me see. Target angel heals 3 damage, then test 7. On a success, the angel heals 3 additional damage and may remove an affliction. They'll even have cards that remove these. You actually have a choice to do that, and you have a choice to resurrect one of the defeated angels. So you have quite a bit that comes from that. It's one of the things you can do. I failed to mention also, when you do level up, you do have a choice of also getting one of these heavenly treasures. And the heavenly treasures actually have little stats and equipment bonuses on them. You put them next to the player there, and they actually add to your stats. Like this one here adds health. This one here. Oh wow, you gain 2 shields and 1 for free and on this item when you use it. So you have these different things you can add up, and they give you a little bit more strength, so you feel a lot more confident moving in. And with some of these combos, you can start getting real crazy, and it feels right. Like it just feels right. It feels like there's a progression, and whether that's in the campaign mode or in this, but I would say like I said, that game night banger, that's what it feels. That's where the fun really hits. For the enemies, it's just as simple. They're going to have something they automatically do. Their health will scale. They roll a die. They look at the cards. You look at the card, it'll tell you exactly what you do. For the 3 and 4 right here, you take that action. It's that simple. Now, I should say, when you wipe these characters, you're going to have a prince come in. You're going to actually add to the board, the field of play, and then you're going to add this prince to the fray. They even have their own darkness deck that's leveled to a certain point, and they also scale to the amount of characters you have. Now, they are punishing. They are insanely hard. And yes, you can level them up with more talents. This one here, Redbud, it's nuts, okay? So Redbud has like these roots, and what he's doing is like he's putting these thorns on you so you can't move. I can't remember the name. What is it called? I can't remember the name now. Root, that's right, root. Because you can't move when you take your first movement action. Well, he's playing on that. You can't move, but also if you're too far away, he can bring in another enemy. So yeah, like here's a crazy one. Where's this one right here? Let's see, because I was going to say, he actually summons. There you go. Here we go. Panpipes. If you roll 3 or 4, place a grin and satire adjacent to the angel furthest from Redbud. Other angels are each dealt 1 damage and gain gloom. Hey, like, that is everything in this game. Bosses, minions, different types of minions. If you get both these games, you're going to have a ton. You're going to have a ton. And then you have the characters, you're going to have a ton. They're not samey. Of course, there's more melees. There's more magic-y type stuff. But when I saw these two here with the with the squalls and also the kind of support animal character. I was like, okay, we open it up even more. So yeah. And even with the campaign, I look forward to some of the writing. I had feedback on the writing before, so I just want to let you know that. All right, so what can I say about this game? Honestly, I just want more of it. I think that this is a top tier dungeon crawl skirmish type game. It's in that genre, so I would say dungeon crawl, adventure, whatever you want to call it. It is great for your game night, and it's great for the long game. And I would even say those scenarios are like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Some of them are shorter than others. This game has a very quick setup to it. Especially if you just have it organized properly, you pop out the random monsters, and you just go. You're like, hey, you got to shuffle the cards for the from the prince, so you have something to kind of change it up. Excuse me. So you have something to change it up. You won't know exactly who you're fighting all the time. So you'll have that option. You can even shuffle the card, you can shuffle them and say, hey, like, I'll take this person tonight, I'll take that person. And you'll find a cool way to synergize, sort of like Aeon's End. You'll find a way to synergize yourselves, and you'll be able to go through these decks and they'll be different. All right, I don't want to keep going. I think you have an idea of how this goes. I know some of you may not like the theme. I understand that. But let me know how you feel in the comments below. If you have any questions, maybe the designer will show up. I'd like to thank Lowen Games for sponsoring this video. Very kind of me for sending this my way. And thank you for your time, party people. You have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me on MVM. See you next time.